Guys, this video is brought to you by our friends at Lucy. Lucy was founded by Caltech scientists on a mission to reduce tobacco-related harm with a tobacco alternative that doesn't suck. As former smokers dissatisfied with traditional nicotine options, they knew there had to be a better way for adult tobacco users. And it's a big challenge, but they did it with their innovative nicotine gum. With 4 milligrams of nicotine in each piece, you can get a dose anywhere, anytime. I encourage my friends who smoke to choose Lucy gum over cigarettes or vapes for all the obvious reasons. As you know, nicotine is addictive, so use discretion. Lucy gum comes in 3 delicious flavors: wintergreen, cinnamon, and pomegranate. Visit lucy.co and use the promo code Chael20. That's going to save you 20% off your entire order. That's Lucy, Lucy.co, or click on the link in the description. Remember, nicotine is addictive, so use discretion. Oh my, so Dana had a lot to unpack. He's doing a press. He's in Abu Dhabi. And I mean, things are going to get hot. We are about to kick this year off, right? I mean, ABC, Conor McGregor, Cater Holloway. I mean, we're about to kick some things off, right? And Dana had made a couple of comments, but if you listen to him, it was like, whoa, somebody asked him a follow-up question. Stay on that. One of those had to do with Jones versus Adesanya. And Dana just goes, look, nobody get excited, myself included. I want to see him fight as much as you want to see him fight. We got a lot of stuff in the way. And then he laid it out, and it's very, very obvious stuff, right? First off, Blachowicz. Adesanya versus Jones doesn't work if Blachowicz gets his way. And the next thing is Dana saying, look, John's at heavyweight now. And Dana didn't finish the thought. Here's where I was wishing and thought a follow-up question would be important, because it appears that John's next fight, while being at heavyweight, will also be against the winner of Stipe and Francis. We know that because of a previous press conference where Dana said, yes, John will get an immediate title shot at heavyweight. So we have no idea when that's going to be. And by the way, I'm a little light on the idea that as soon as Stipe and Francis get done, that we just know who John's going to fight. I mean, you got to play that fight out. If something weird happens there, with it being a second fight particularly, it could warrant and call for the trilogy fight, where they could just be fighting themselves again. Okay. I only bring that to you because, as we have predicted, it's a very tough spot to put John Jones in. I don't like the idea that people are saying John is scared of Adesanya or running away from Adesanya. Calling John Jones scared. Come on, man. You look a little silly. If John's going to make a commitment to heavyweight and he's going in, all in, he's burning his boats, and he himself believes the one thing separating himself from his goal is putting on weight, to make believe then that we're just going to pull him back down. I think that's what Dana was talking about. What am I going to do here? First off, Izzy's got Blachowicz. That's the fight I'm promoting because that's the fight I have. John is going to heavyweight. Does he stay at heavyweight? He's going to heavyweight. So we've got time in between even being able to offer somebody this match, let alone get it. He was then weighing in on Conor McGregor. So he made an interesting comment. They were asking about Conor specifically, and Dana actually said, look, we're good. We're in a good place, to use Dana's words. He said we're in a bad place, again, to use Dana's words, going back to, you remember the screenshots of the DMs between Conor and Dana, but it involved Diego Sanchez? Dana said that put us in a bad place, man. I did not like that. It was a trust issue. And he said, but we've worked through it. We're in a good place. And if you want to know the perfect scenario for Conor, he fights 2 or 3 times this year, and one of those is going to be a title fight. Now, the only reason I'm picking that apart, I'm sure you guys would say what Dana said. Yeah, get Conor, get him busy, get him in there for the belt. You'd probably say that too. It's a different thing when Dana is saying a perfect scenario is Conor fights 2 or 3 times and one of them's for a title. When Conor's about to fight Poirier, it's different if you're Poirier. If you're Poirier, you're going, hey, wait a minute. I got business with this guy. What you making other plans that, by the way, are a perfect scenario? What about me? Now, Grown men that are cage fighters probably aren't going to get their feelings hurt. I know that's what you're thinking. I'm here to tell you, you're wrong. The most sensitive guys you're going to meet are these guys. And by the way, they're very sensitive to what Dana thinks because they respect him. So they're very sensitive. So I was asked this question by my buddy Ryan earlier. He goes, Chael, what would you do? He goes, what would you do if you were going into a match and there was something great set up for the winner as long as it's the other guy? I go, Ryan, that actually happened to me. I can personalize this. But I had a fight with Nate Marquardt. Fought a guy named Nate Marquardt, 2009. And it was a big moment for me. It was a co-main event of a pay-per-view. I had never been in that position. I'd cracked TV, but now you're in one of the feature matches. And they had made it very clear whoever wins this fight is fighting Anderson for the belt. Now, with that said, Nate was a 2.5-1 favorite. Nate had already fought Anderson, and he'd already worked his way back to earn what they were saying about him. I had just come over from the WEC. So it wasn't the same, but it was we were being told that this was the semifinal match until I won. Then that's when you get the big reveal of, hey, that deal was kind of only good for Nate. And they showed me some respect, but they didn't give it to me. They ended up giving it to Damian Maia. I bring that to you because I ended up in that spot again. I was going to fight Vitor Belfort, and this was right after Vitor had knocked out Dan Henderson. I bring the Dan Henderson into it for time frame. I can't remember when it was, 2013-ish. Getting ready to fight Vitor. Contract was signed. I remember Dana came out and said, if Vitor wins, Vitor will fight Anderson for the title. If Chael wins, we'll have to think about it. That's a quote. That's a nice way of saying if Vitor wins, Vitor is fighting for the belt. If Chael wins, which we don't think is going to happen, we're going to give ourselves some room because we're not giving him a title shot. So I only bring that to you because when Ryan asked me, Chael, what would you do? He meant for that to be like a mythical question. I actually knew the answer. Now, here's the other side of the coin. Okay, now you're just talking about personal, who's going to get their feelings hurt because they read something on the internet, right? Dana's still got a job to do. He went out and did his job. He got asked a question, he answered the question. But I would like for you to at least store this in mind. With Dana's comments, which make it sound as though it's a foregone conclusion that Conor's going to win. Okay, those comments do not help Conor win, not by 1 inch. Not by 1 point, not by one jab or one cross did Dana just help Conor. The other side of that coin is he did not hurt Poirier or Poirier's chances of winning. Not by 1 point, 1 moment, one jab or one cross. That's between those two. So for Dana to be asked a question, to candidly answer the question as he's starting to line out a calendar for 2021 in a specific weight class, which by the way is in a weird purgatory. Right, you don't know if Khabib's coming back or if Khabib isn't. It's looking as though he isn't. Charles Oliveira just threw this whole thing into a wrench. Michael Chandler's about to have his say in the matter. Hooker's this close to getting himself right back on track. I mean, it's one of these things where, yes, somebody's going to get offended if you're the kind of person who gets offended at that kind of thing. This is the kind of thing you like if you're the kind of person who likes that kind of thing. Stop. There's nothing wrong with Dana's comment. I think we would all agree with him. We'd like to see more Conor. I think we would all agree, and Dana included if he were asked. A mistake made in the last 12 months was not keeping Conor busy. Conor came back in January. He said, I'm going to do this 3 more times this year. That was on the heel of Jon Jones having made the same statement after the same size layoff and then coming back and doing it over and over. I mean, we got more Jon Jones. Got more Jon Jones in 2020. 2019, there's a 12-month period. It started in 19 and bled into 20 a little bit. We got more Jon Jones than you ever had at any other point in his career. So when Conor comes in and makes that statement on the back of Jones, I think there was some legs to it. I think you do too. I think it was a miss. I think we screwed up. I think we should have used Conor when you can use Conor. Conor is fun. Conor has a different commodity. Every single athlete has one commodity, his performance. Conor has a different commodity. Conor is an entertainer. Conor is interesting. It's one of those things. I think if we look back and now you look at what Dana said, where he says, look, we'll keep Conor real busy and one was going to be for title fight. Man, he was just telling the truth. Got to ask a straight question. He answered it straight.